salutations. Happy Thursday, August the 20th, if you can believe it, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, the daily show for entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, and builders ready to stop waiting in the wings and let their stories power their growth. Another fabulous summer day, although are we officially in late summer? I think we might be. So listen, what is it now? 76 degrees now. It's going to be another mid-80s here with some rain later. So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts and also look forward to the fall. It's a wonderful season as well. But one day at a time, folks, one day at a time. New study by Boston Consulting Group confirms something we all kind of know, and no one's going to shed any tears for retiring CEOs' struggles, but I think it's relevant. So that's what I want to talk about for a few minutes today and see how this lands with you, even if you're not a retiring big company CEO. So the headline is that for CEOs, retirement is the ultimate performance review, and 60% are failing at it. This is a Fortune article reporting on the Boston Consulting Group research published yesterday. So new research from BCG among former CEOs of companies with at least $1 billion in revenue found that only 40% felt satisfied with their transition during the first year after leaving the role. And I'll just boil it down to the bottom line, which is the largest struggle that those who do struggle have is identity and relevance. So you go from being in a position where your whole identity is wrapped up in being the CEO, even when you're not in the office, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're the CEO. You carry that everywhere. That's how people see you. And the longer you've been in a role like that, and by the way, I will just say that it isn't just CEOs that I've seen experience this. Lawyers, doctors, many different people who, anybody, I suppose, could be totally enmeshed in their identity, their work identity, their job identity. So, of course, companies like BCG and news media and magazines like Fortune, of course, focus on CEOs. It's their target audience. But I think it really applies. And what this research just bears out that's sort of, to me, kind of obvious is that the hardest part is the identity piece. Who am I? Now, why am I talking about this topic? Because I keep seeing it out there. I did not start the bigger stage with the intention of addressing this issue, but I have to say I'm grappling with multiple what we would call ICPs, right? Ideal client profiles. But the one that's coming up that you don't always know is going to come up until you start a company and you start serving, and then you just see what emerges. So I've been targeting, founders of companies, right? But what I'm coming across a lot of are former corporate turned consultant. So even seasoned corporate, maybe even they've been in the C-suite. And I mean, the pattern is undeniable. And so these are people who are accomplished. They're smart. They know what they were really good at their role inside of a company. They go out on their own, and maybe they're not ready, like in the CEO story, they're not ready to sit on boards and work part-time and go between their lake house and, their city apartment and, move on to that next chapter, which is a nice chapter if you can get there. Okay, I'm not denigrating it. But for whatever reason, they want to or have to keep plugging away, and they're out on their own. They don't want to go back into corporate. They'd prefer to have their own business. And it's the identity. It's, you used to walk into an office or log in and you had your title and the work kind of came to you. You got to solve the problems and feel good about what you were doing. Everybody wants to feel good about what they're doing. Being out in the wild does not give you those signals. And as someone who's done it for a very, very long time, you have to build an entirely different sense of identity and a different relationship with the feedback loop that a company provides you, for better or for worse. So coming out of corporate's no joke, especially if you've been in corporate a long time. it's my observation that, it takes a long time to, if you do the work, to become confident and clear in your own identity, separate and apart. Just you. But in a corporate environment, there are different signals. There are different drivers, different incentives. So, you learn to communicate differently. And you learn, how to operate differently. And so I just want to say, for anyone who's struggling with this out there, and I keep meeting these people, so the universe is saying something. First of all, you're not alone. It's totally normal. It's very hard to go out on your own. It's available more than ever. I mean, technology is making the ability to look polished easier than ever, and yet polished isn't what's selling. What's selling is real. But you don't want to look casual. You don't want to look like you don't care. So there's no way around it. It's just finding who you are, like a genuine version of you that's different than the version of you that was operating in a different environment with different incentives, where your identity was a little bit different. And that's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens easily. And it is something generally, I think, you need other people to walk that journey with you, because you can't see yourself. It's a self-awareness journey, ultimately. And well, let me qualify that. It's a self-awareness journey with a healthy dose of self-acceptance. Does that make sense? Because you might discover in the journey that there's something about your identity that is bolstering an insecurity. And maybe because you were well paid, or you had status, or you were rolling, you were able to take that insecurity and put it on a shelf, because you had all these other competing trophies next to the troll. That's it. It's the trophies and the troll. If you've got some trophies to kind of put in front of the troll, then the troll can kind of stay quiet, but the troll doesn't necessarily die. Then you go out on your own, and man, that troll is getting well fed, eating protein, building muscle. You're out there, not sure how to project yourself, and the troll is feasting. And if that resonates with you, you don't need to do anything necessarily. I'm not asking you to go shout it out on the mountaintop and let everyone know, but you should know that you're not alone, and it's not crazy. Going out on your own, moving on to a new stage where you need a new identity and perhaps a new sense of self, is going to push a whole lot of buttons. It just is. And thankfully, we don't walk this journey alone. So I'm going to leave it there for today. If this resonates, or if you know someone struggling in this area, bring them onto this show. I think they're going to probably find a little refuge with this, and, or send them my way. I'd love to talk to them. I'd love to talk to them. It can be a more challenging than you think it is, when the infrastructure that made you feel valued and good is gone. It's like, go watch Lawrence of Arabia if you haven't seen it. That's how it feels. At one point, you're going to scream, "I'm not an animal." And from there, you can really strip away all the other stuff, all the other facade, and get to the deepest marrow of your soul. And when you can come to terms with that, you can grow. It's amazing. All right, that's a little bit woo-woo. Not woo-woo. A little bit vague for some people, probably. But it makes sense to me. Was that helpful? What questions come up for you? What do you think about the transition? How does identity play into what you do, and how you think you need to move forward? Drop a note on Substack if you're there. Invite a friend to listen along and join our little party here. Our numbers are growing. So Substack subscriptions aren't a great indicator. So they go up, they go down a little bit. But the total audience, if you look at the audience, is growing steadily, slowly and steadily. We will hit an inflection point at some point. but I'm encouraged, and I get feedback from people that's giving me more encouragement. But I want to serve, so let me know what would serve you even more. In the meantime, while we figure all that out one day at a time, please be good to yourself and others. Thanks as always for listening, and we will check back again with you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.